There are two kinds of people in this world. The people who fail to do what they know they should, and those who keep doing things they know they shouldn't. Guess what? You're both. Hi, I'm your host, life and business coach, Marcy Barker, aka your loving kick in the pants. In this podcast, I'll teach you the 6 steps of my accountability code that will help you wake up with clarity and show up with aligned action steps that make follow through easy and peaceful. All right, let's jump in. Good morning, my beautiful people. As I'm sitting here recording a few podcasts, I was looking through my phone. I do not have a fancy setup at all, and I have been extremely pleased with how well my podcast manager packages it all up and makes it look really pretty. Because right now I'm sitting in my car recording my podcast on my phone. And that's actually how I recorded my entire audiobook, was on my phone in my closet. And it turned out extremely well. So I'm sitting here in my car and I was just looking at my past voice memos. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually did do a podcast back in 2019, and it wasn't public at all. I had a membership called Marcy Circle where I provided workouts, meal plans, education, motivation, and then I started putting podcasts in because I needed a place to share thoughts that were maybe deeper and not more risky, but definitely stuff that doesn't fit into the mainstream of I'm your personal trainer, so here's what I want you to know. And every week I would give out a new podcast in my private member dashboard. And those are still on my phone from 2019. And I was listening to one because it caught my eye. It was titled, Choose Your Struggles Before Your Struggles Choose You. And if you've been around, you guys know that that is a story in my book where I talk about choosing your struggles. So listening to this podcast from 4 years ago was just really enlightening to be like, okay, I'm still practicing these things. And 4 years later, I have so much more evidence that choosing your struggles is a really, really awesome way to live your life. And if you are new to all of my messaging, that might sound a little weird, like choose my struggles. Why would I choose struggles at all? But on the other hand, you're listening to a podcast about accountability, so you understand that that is requiring proactive measures, and choosing your struggles is just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just straight up share this podcast with you that I recorded 4 years ago about choosing your struggles before your struggles choose you. And while you listen to this, I want you to see the importance of documenting where you are right now in life, because the things that are working for you now are going to be your lifesavers as challenges and struggles come up. And even if everything doesn't go perfectly, documenting your progress is going to be gold when it comes to learning who you are, figuring yourself out, being comfortable with yourself. Like, there's a few things I said in that podcast and I was like, wow, I am still the same way, and I'm so glad I took the time to be proactive. And in the end of it, I'll spoil just a little bit, but I talk about taking parenting classes because a lot of people would make comments about me having 4 daughters and about my life being so hard because I have 4 daughters. And so I enrolled myself into parenting classes. And you guys, I still do stuff like that. I still am proactive about parenting. And now my kids are 9, 11, 13, and 15. And I feel like we're doing really good. I don't have anything in my life that is so challenging that I want to give up. And the ability to choose my struggles has allowed me to take things as they come and more easily because I've put myself in a space of armoring up. So I'm going to share this podcast episode with you. I hope you all enjoy the little throwback, and let's give it a listen. Hey friends, I am here way past my bedtime, which is not the norm, but kids have no school tomorrow, so that is always a blessing. That's so nice, you guys, when I don't have to get kids ready for school. I love that. So I'm sitting here with a notebook in my hands, and I just spent a few minutes writing down my to-do list. And on this to-do list, there are massive things that I need to get done that might take me a couple months. And then there's also some items that I can get done pretty quickly, and then everything in between. But the reason I wanted to record this podcast is, number one, it's on my list. I'm like, I need to record 10 podcasts. But also, I keep a running list of podcast ideas on my phone, so when I have a few minutes, I can just talk about it. And also, I want to go into depth about things that I hear that I'm like, okay, this is really important. I would love to elaborate on this. And one of the notes I took said that choose your struggles before your struggles choose you. And I've been thinking about how my life has kind of been on this high for the past few weeks, like almost a month, where I'm like, I am doing so good. I'm getting so much stuff done. I'm loving the direction I'm going, and I'm just plugging away at all this stuff. But I've also noticed that even though my high has been like a month, like I have had lows throughout specific days where I'm like, I'm so tired and I don't want to do anything. And it has stemmed from things that have come up that I've had to help with or I wanted to help with, but aren't necessarily in line with my long-term goals. Like one example is my neighbor was in a plane crash. He has been going to school for a really long time, and he just became an instructor, and he was teaching a new student how to fly, and he was in a plane crash. And I am the admin of my neighborhood group, and it's because I value so much the connection within a community that I go above and beyond to connect my neighbors and help them feel involved and cared for and things like that. So on top of my neighbor getting in a plane crash, he went to the hospital with all kinds of injuries, but also they had to sedate him. So he was in ICU while his wife was due with their third baby, like on the verge of having a baby. So we just were trying to figure out everything. And I spent a lot of time finding a photographer that could cover the live birth and capture all of the memories that this dad was going to miss. So the post that I made in a business group kind of went viral. Like it had over 45 shares on it, and I just got all these messages from people wanting to do it. And I was thinking about how overwhelmed I got. I was so surprised at how many times I have felt almost like anger and gratitude at the same time. And I'm trying to figure out if that's even possible. But I would come home and I'm like, I am so mad that my day was filled with these things that were not planned. But you guys, I had over 50 people message me and said I will be happy to do their photography for free. And so my heart is so full, and I've had a hard time trying to discern between how I should feel and like being real about the situation. So when it comes to picking our struggles before our struggles pick us, I want you guys to recognize that stress and opposition is going to come into your life no matter what. And you can either create problems with your new direction, or you can sit on the couch and wait for problems to find you. And I can guarantee you that challenges you face head on are going to be so much more fulfilling and beneficial than problems that come to you just because problems come to everybody. So my bigger struggles lately have just been all business related. And I don't even think I'd call them struggles, but like challenges, something new I'm trying to overcome, something new I'm trying to bring to pass. And when you're going up a mountain, you already know some things that are going to happen. Like I'm going to have to invest some money in this area. I'm going to have to invest some time in this area. I'm going to have to say goodbye to things that aren't working. I'm going to have to place some boundaries in some relationships that aren't quite fulfilling me, things like that. But if I was choosing to not run my business, I might just run into challenges that come from having so much time on my hands. Like when I'm not busy, you guys, that's the worst time that you find yourself scrolling social media or doing other things that aren't important because you're not actively working towards a goal. You might also find that people expect more of you because they know you don't really have an agenda. You don't have things on your plate. You don't have things on your radar, and they expect you to help them more. So my biggest reason for sharing this is I want you guys to think about all of the challenges that are happening in your life, and I want you to recognize if these are a result of you growing and progressing and leveling up your life, or are your challenges as a result of not really being focused on something. Because I, through this experience, have learned I would much rather have challenges that I can anticipate instead of having challenges that are 100% out of my control, because they have nothing to do with what I'm focused on. So again, I can anticipate the challenges I'm going to have because I'm working in a specific area. So all of my challenges lately, like, they are about business. And when challenges come up with my kids, I'm like, this is a piece of cake, because I'm so focused. I've been learning in these areas, how to communicate with people, how to get my message across, how to convert people to do what I want so that the relationship is good. Like, all of these things I'm learning about in business are directly applicable to my kids. I'm trying to get a message across. I'm trying to convert them. I'm trying to make the relationship beneficial to both of us. And my life is I'm benefiting from that because I'm choosing to progress in that area. If you have a big fit with a family member and you're not actively working on your relationships, then that encounter is going to be extremely hard to overcome. So I want you guys to pick your challenges before your challenges pick you. And I know I've said like 3 different versions of that message. But one more example is a parenting class. You guys, when people hear I have 4 girls, I don't know what in their right mind people want to make comments about how hard my life is going to be. And when I started hearing that over and over, I was like, F that. No way am I going to have the hardest life. So I started being proactive about what my life is going to turn into. I refuse to be a slave to my kids. I'm not going to be a chauffeur taking them everywhere. And I'm not judging any of you and your lifestyle if that's what you do, if you feel like you're in the car all the time. But I had all of these ideas fed to me that my life was going to be a certain way. And I was like, no, it's not. I would rather have the challenge of me teaching my daughters than the challenge of trying to schedule all of their programs that they're in. So I've done a lot of parenting classes because I want to make sure that I go into every new stage of parenthood with tools, a tool belt and a kit of things of like, this will work. These are things you can practice. If you work on these habits now, it's going to be better than if you just wait for your kid to come at you with some crazy problem. So every time that I've been proactive about something, I feel like I master it more easily, but I also feel like I'm benefiting during the process and when the outcome is actually needed. So you guys just think about the challenges you're going through, and I want you to think about maybe there are some things that you can overcome that you actually want to work on, whether it is improving your relationship with your spouse or getting out of debt or improving your business. Any of these things, if you choose to be more proactive and focus on a certain area, you can be stronger and more equipped to deal with those challenges. So if there are challenges that keep coming at you that you feel like are 100% out of your control, then let's definitely focus on what your direction is in life and what kind of things you want your life to look like, because setting boundaries is one way that you can choose to rid yourself of problems that are unnecessary for the path that you're going in life. So anyway, those are my little thoughts right before bedtime. Choose your struggles before your struggles choose you. All right, friends. Peace out.
Hey, listeners. The message of waking up and showing up is yours for the taking. In fact, it's free. I've recorded my entire audiobook, and I'd love for you to consume it between episodes. Head to marcybarker.com to get instant access to the accountability code Wake Up and Show Up. All right, let's jump back in.
I hope you enjoyed listening to that, because you have the same exact ability as I do to look at yourself and say, hey, what are things about me that still exist, and how have those things served me? How can I double down on those skills in order to move forward with a greater level of personal accountability? And Your ability to choose your struggles, I feel, is so freaking proactive that it puts you in a state of mental toughness that's really hard to mess with. And a couple episodes ago, I talked about integration and having a big challenge with something that I was hit with. And as I worked through that with one of my friends, it was really interesting to see how massive the shift was within a couple of days. Like, I got the news and I was like, this sucks. My life is over. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then within a matter of days, I was like, everything is fine. It was no big deal. I figured it out. And normally things like that would have set me back for days or weeks. And that's just not the case anymore. And I hope you believe in yourself to do the same. I hope that you can look at your life and say, I want to actively pursue these things, even though I know they're going to be hard. I know without a doubt it's going to be more beneficial than not going after what I want. If you have the book or the workbook, I encourage you to go and give yourself a little refresh on choosing your struggles with the emphasis of like pointing out how awesome you are. Recognize how amazing you are improving because you're choosing to. There is a significant difference in people who do that and people who don't. And I just want to congratulate you for being here, because you doing that, you're making yourself a better person. Your family has a better environment. The world is literally becoming a better place because of people who care about creating what they really want. So if you guys, I have more episodes. I think I put out like 30 or 40 episodes when I did it 4 years ago. So I might scroll through them again and just see if there's more goodies in there. Another one was titled, Comparison is Not the Thief of Joy. And I know we've talked about that before, but I've been preaching it for years. And now I just have another little podcast from 4 years ago that just proves it. We can dive into that another time. But I want to thank you all for being here and for investing in yourself. I promise you that as you continue to do that, you're going to experience a greater level of happiness and peace within your life, and your ability to follow through is going to be incredibly evident.
Hey friends, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. If you got any value out of this episode, I would love for you to drop me a review or share with a friend what you learned. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday for Your Loving Kick in the Pants.